Hello, welcome to Johnny's Desk. I am Amiesi Nyamiche Thompson. Coming up this hour, pressure piles on the governing National Democratic Congress as Majority Caucus in Parliament calls for the immediate cancellation of its Ayawaso East constituency results. Also, President John Mahama recalls a man at the center of the vote-buying allegations, Baba Jamal, as Ghana's High Commissioner to Nigeria following the allegations. Also coming up this morning, the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA Ghana, worried that female genital mutilation persists through cross-border operations. And we have our latest hotline documentary, Tax for Galamsey, which exposes how illegal mining in Amansia Central District of the Ashanti region. We have these business updates on our desk. Don't go away. Now, the United Nations Population Fund, Ghana, is raising alarm that female genital mutilation persists through cross-border operations, with victims secretly taken to neighboring countries to evade Ghana's laws. At the International Day of Zero Tolerance of FGM in Oli, West District of the country representative Dr. David Wilfred Okan described the practice as inhuman and criminal, and called for coordinated action by all stakeholders to end it. Rafik Salam reports.
Female genital mutilation, FGM, comprises all procedures that involve partial or total removal of the external female genitalia or other injury to the female genital organs for non-medical reasons. The practice is outlawed in many countries, including Ghana. The World Health Organization estimated that more than 230 million girls and women alive today have undergone female genital mutilation in 30 countries in Africa, the Middle East, and Asia, where FGM is practiced. Narrowing the situation to in-country, a baseline survey conducted by the UNFPA in response to evidence from the 2018 Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey and the 2021 Population and Housing Census showed while the national prevalence of FGM on women aged between 15 to 49 stands at 2%, significantly higher rates persist in some parts of the country, including the Upper West region. Speaking at the International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation at Oli in the West District of the Upper West region, Director, Domestic Violence Secretariat at the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Malonum Asibi, asserted that without renewed political commitment and investment, an additional 23 million women could be subjected to the practice by 2030, who therefore underscored the need for targeted and sustained interventions.
The practice of FGM is a harmful social norm that has no proven health benefits, and yet often justified in the name of culture or tradition. Survivors may experience severe health complications, psychological trauma, and lifelong consequences that affect them in many spheres of their lives. Globally, more than 230 million girls and women live with the consequences of female genital mutilation. Current projections estimate that without renewed political commitment and investment, an additional 23 million girls could be subjected to the practice by 2030.
Though the practice of FGM is illegal in the country, practitioners of the Inhumane and Criminal Act now performs the trade outside the country and in secrecy, according to UNFPA country representative Dr. Wilfred Ochan in a speech read on his behalf by gender analyst Selina Owusu.
Instead of stopping completely, some families now take the girls and young girls across borders to avoid Ghana's law. What once happened openly now happens in secrecy. And when harm comes into secrecy, it becomes more dangerous. In these moments, girls lose not only protection under the law, but also the protection of their most basic rights. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is why regions like the Upper West are especially affected. Borders are closed. Families live across countries because from here we can just go to Burkina. So I'm sure we have families across the borders.
He called for concerted action from all stakeholders, particularly traditional and religious leaders, conceding that enacted laws alone cannot stop the practice without the support.
Well, joining me this morning is Charity Bature, Upper West Regional Director, Gender Ministry. We're grateful for your time. This is very worrying that this practice has been outlawed in Ghana, yet families still insist on taking their wards outside the country to practice this. Do we know exactly where they take them?
Thank you and good morning. Unfortunately, just as we are aware, because we are neighbors to this bordering country, and of course, it's just demarcation that has separated us because these are families that are connected. So often they will just play the smart role of probably saying they are attending funeral services or paying a visit to families across the border, and they just silently carry these young girls across and they perform on them, they bring them back secretly. So we wouldn't say that there's a designated point we can point out to say that this is where it's happening, but certainly we know that once they move across and join families, they are able to probably assist them find people who will do this, who will perform this practice on them, because initially or in the past, we had well-known people who we were referring to them locally as wanzams, who were known for their practice, and they were actually practicing it as a form of livelihood. But with the introduction of laws in the country, these people went into hiding, and most of them are not practicing it now in Ghana, but across the borders, we are sure that perhaps these people are well known or they can be easily identified, and the innocent girls are taken to them for the practice to be done on them. So we can't say that we know a known destination where we can say this is where they go to do it, but once they cross over to families and the practice is not criminalized on their end, then it means these people are easily identifiable and they can perform the practice on the girls and bring them back into the country.
But this is something that is illegal in Ghana. Does the law end on our borders when these Ghanaians cross over to other countries to have these women or girls cut, or they can still be held liable when they return?
Certainly, they can be held liable when they return. The laws ending on our borders, yeah, this is where, to the extent, the laws of our country cannot cross border to apply on them. But what happens is that when they come in, we are putting in some local systems where we can still find them. But now communities have been sensitized, they are aware, they have watchdogs, and even our health workers, as well as the schools that some of these young girls belong to, they've all been sensitized and educated on how to pick out some signs. When a child is not coming to school for some number of days, we should be on the lookout for such a person. And then when the child returns, the behavior and attitude of the child also indicate whether she's okay or there's something wrong. Then we're able to know that something has happened. And then the health workers are also helping us to inspect on these infants when they are brought to the facility to be sure that everything is intact, they've not cut the baby or something is missing from them. So I would say that locally, there are structures that can help us to address the problem. But crossing to border, what we've also done is for us to have some form of engagement with our partners on the other side. There's been a number of interregional programs that will put this to the table, that they should also be on the lookout. If even it's not in their laws, but once it's in their laws, they should also deter our people who cross over to have such practices done. So we are working together with our neighbors across borders to help us address the issue. But in terms of how far it can go on their system, would have to have some higher level engagement. But locally, as we go for funerals or as they come into our country, and then once we have inter-country programs, we table it on the discussion table for them to figure out how they can help us also criminalize it at their end, and also deterring our people from crossing over to do it. But actually, like we've been saying, it's just for some areas, it's just the river that is blocking us. So once it's in the dry season, it's just a walk across. So once there's a funeral, they just use that as a point to go in and have it performed. So they are also gradually getting to understand and appreciate where we are coming from as a country and helping us to be on the lookout. But I can't be able to state that this is how strong it is, but we are still hoping that when it's taken up at that inter-country level, probably when they also have a law that is also working against it, then definitely we would be able to address it together as a whole.
Well, what I would also like to know is, are you also trying to, activate ECOWAS protocols, in these countries to at least bring up or expose those who are engaging in this barbaric act? One, and also seeing that people are still engaging in this, how does it set the country back, knowing that so much effort has been put in to actually, get this to become a thing of the past, but looks like others are also struggling to ensure that it doesn't go away?
Okay, so taking it up on the ECOWAS level, as I mentioned, we would need the national level engagement where we have countries having those conversations. But at the regional level, we are working with the community structures and then also enforcing the coordinating aspects from the regional coordinating council to department like my own Department of Gender, Ghana Education Service, Ghana Health Service, and even working with our traditional leaders. So locally, that's what we are doing. But to accelerate it to that level, we need the countries at that leadership level to have that discussion. Right. Setting us back, yes, because as girls are taking through this practice, a whole lot comes to play. The impact is grief. For instance, it is contributing to issues of maternal death, and it's also increasing poverty levels, because women who go through this process, some of them at the end of the day, at childbirth, develop some conditions like the obstetric fistula that deprives them from engaging in any form of economic activity that could have helped them to liberate themselves from poverty. And that aside, it also affects the education of the girl child, because the girl is going to be, sometimes they say as long as a month or two away from school, because it takes time to heal. And then because they want it hidden, the child is kept away from school for that long before she shows up. And that will definitely affect such a child's education. So performance will be low. And again, it's also contributing to issues of gender-based violence. And of course, we know once issues of violence come in, a lot happens from the home, affecting the family. Some get into some form of injuries that the nation is spending a lot to solve. We know for sure, because we've had a lot of cases where some of these homes, homes where the woman has gone through the practice, has ended up in broken marriages, because the satisfaction that each partner would want is not there. And that aside, when she's not also able to conceive or deliver safely, she's again the victim here. So there's a lot that comes to play when it comes to impact, and the fact that it sets us back as a nation. We cannot develop if a greater part of our resource, which has to do with the women and girls, are affected by things that we can avoid. This is something that can easily be avoided. Right. It doesn't have any benefit to us, so we can easily get rid of it.
What I'm also curious about is, how recent is this happening? I mean, when was the latest information you had about Ghanaians moving across the border to get this done? How recent?
Okay, per the last survey that was conducted by UNFPA, there's about 2-3 years ago, we
Unfortunately, the connection there to Charity Baturi, the Upper West Regional Director of the Gender Ministry, just froze. Over there, we're discussing the female genital mutilation, which is still very rife in some parts of the country, especially the Upper West region. And this time around, what they do is to take the girls across borders to get the thing done for them. I mean, very barbaric. Going on there, and we're hoping that the gender ministry as well as the UN agency there can handle. Well, I understand Charity is back on the line with us. Charity, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. So you're telling us about how recent these engagements are. You're telling us about 2 to 3 years ago, people were still engaging in this.
Yeah. Yeah, we still had girls that are young at 15 who had been kadami. It's still close to that. It's not far away. And again, as we criminalize it and then the practitioners started disappearing, a new method has also emerged where they are now not cutting, but they are applying hot substance like pressing the clitoris with hot shea butter to make it shrink gradually. So the child is okay. You are not seeing any sign of a missing clitoris, but gradually you find it depreciating or disappearing. So we are again engaging the communities as well as our religious leaders and all key stakeholders to be on the lookout for us, so that practice is also brought to the light, so that we find them out and prosecute them as due.
What is the thinking? What goes into it for these people to want the clitoris be cut or shrunk? What is the thinking? What's the cultural significance of that?
Ironically, it's funny to know that to this day and age of how far we've traveled as a country or even globally, people still have the assertion that it is good to cut the woman so that she remains faithful to the husband and she doesn't become promiscuous, and religiously she stays chaste instead of assumably her being promiscuous by dating one man or the other. But what we've always said to them is that the International Day, a concern was raised that children who were cut in the past stayed, so they were of age to marry, but now young girls are not of age and they find them getting pregnant, teenage pregnancies are increasing. But the education we gave on that ground was that it's about the parenting style these days. How you are nurturing your children will make the difference.
All right.
It's not about cutting.
Right.
In the past, that was the assumption. But even with that, parents then were more committed to the upbringing of their children. But today, you find most parents chasing one thing or the other. And particularly in our rural communities,
right,
some parents don't even know when their children go to sleep. So of course, if you are not alert, if you are not watchful of your child, it's not about cutting her that will make her stay at home. It's about how you train and nurture her.
Just before you go, very briefly, has the ministry taken any action to prosecute any of them that you found within this time or the period within which you did this research?
Thank you. I think in collaboration with our partners, I can speak of a very recent one that happened, not in our region, but in the Upper East, where they got hints of the arrangement for such a practice to be conducted. So the Ghana Health Service, together with Ghana Police, they quickly moved in, and then these people were arrested.
Right.
So I know in terms of collaboration with our partners, the ministry is working strongly with our other partners, like I mentioned in the earlier submission, Ghana Health Service, GS, the police, even immigration officers who also stand at our borders to help us address the matter. So we are really working hand in hand. And in fact, the training and then the capacity building for our community structures in terms of the watchdogs, giving them the soft skills on how to go about it, and also giving them the reporting channel is also helping us create awareness. And of course, let me also indicate that there's been a reduction, but we want to get to a point where there's a zero. Just as we've indicated, there should be a 0 point where no girl is taken through this barbaric practice.
Right. Thank you very much, Charity Bature. She's Upper West Regional Director for the Gender Ministry. Moving on, A Tax for Galamsey is a hotline investigative documentary that exposes how illegal mining in Amanse Central District of the Ashanti region is no longer merely tolerated but systematically taxed, receipted and protected by government appointees. Through undercover reporting, secret recordings, documentary evidence and on-the-ground infiltration, the investigation reveals an alleged extortion network involving the district assembly, a task force operating under the authority of the district chief executive. The documentary uncovers how illegal miners are compelled to pay fixed registration fees, 3,000 cedis per chamfan machine and tens of thousands of cedis per excavator in exchange for uninterrupted operations.
Undercover, we infiltrated the Jakobu Township, the seat of the district assembly, posing as illegal miners operating at Eskesu, one of the mining communities. It is time for us to uncover the loot. We secretly filmed every process and navigated the community on motorbikes. The assembly is where we intend to make payments and confirm every illegal mining scandal. Our undercover operation led us to Philemon, a receptionist at the district assembly. He greeted us and with apparent willingness agreed to help us procure a warrant sticker for our Galamsey operation. He called one district engineer who would later send us contact to the mining desk officer himself.
Afternoon. Good afternoon.
Boss Bacho, okay, you're about to stick out.
Okay, to stick out. And onim mame ode mu odion mame ne miss officer in Kasawai. It is number the man na mo ni pada Kasawai.
All right.
Yeah, trust sticker.
Hours passed as we waited for the mining desk officer and leader of the task force, a man known interchangeably as Red, Malam or Nana, who also served as the community's chief imam. Our wait was prolonged because he was reportedly out on an operation collecting the tax from illegal miners. Payments were allegedly collected on Mondays and Wednesdays alone. Later, we managed to speak with the head of the mining desk on phone. He confirmed the 3,000 Ghana cedi payments for chamfan machines and instructed us to wait for his arrival, which was very uncertain.
One leg, you know.
Bachani.
Would you have about that, bro? Why?
But
the fire, yeah.
the fight.
The fire,
A better na kepesi kobe bikakra.
45 minutes.
Wow. Look, na kabekwa ni ntumi nhia wo. Because he be say ke kokuma ase.
It's weird you would say that a state that has called, irresponsible mining terrorism is then at the same time facilitating this through what is seemingly even state sanctioned, right? Because there are receipts that are involved. It means that the state infrastructure is accounting for its support and its own implications into it. So it's a strange arrangement where the state now is in itself an illegal miner.
Well, Well, Dr. Abdul Wadud Momin is at the School of Mines and Built Environment, University of Energy and Natural Resources. We're grateful for your time on our desk, sir. Kindly unmute and speak to us.
Yes, please.
Great. I would like to hear your initial, comments on this documentary. Does it come to you as a shock?
For me, it is not a shock to me. It is something that we know on the ground. And, it is embarrassing to me that this is now has become public knowledge, not only within Ghana, but the rest of the world. When we are actually at the forefront of fighting illegal mining, where we have our own president launching a whole NIMOS, looking busy, appear to be busy fighting illegal mining. The same government is actually shooting itself on the foot with appointees actually forming syndicates to, as you would want to allow me to say, to formalize in their own world the perpetration of illegality. So it's quite embarrassing to the nation in this age, in the 21st century, and in the president's agenda and the government's agenda to reset Ghana. Ghana is actually on a very strong reverse gear as long as illegal mining is concerned, and as long as honesty, accountability, and probity is concerned in the administration, and also looking to the welfare of their people and the protection of natural resources of this country. It's really important, and this should not actually be taken little at all.
So, with these DCs perpetrating this act, you are on the ground with them. How do they operate? How does it come across? You are there on the grounds with them?
I would honestly tell you that what the Joint News team has actually uncovered is the reality on the ground. It hasn't actually started from the newly appointed DCs and MMDCs, right? This has been the trend even in the previous government. It was worse in the previous government. I would say that even now people are more or less careful as to how they do it. But if you do your conduct your recall back into the previous government, even MMDCs were actually removed from office, and I can give an example in the Eastern region. And one of them is even now one of the most outspoken persons in the opposition party now concerning illegal mining, who was a DCE and was removed because of similar things. So it is, that's why I told you, it's not new. It is something that has been going on government after government. So it was not also a signature of the previous government. It has happened in the previous governments before the Akufo-Addo's government. And now we are seeing it because your desk has taken an ultra-modern methodology and technique of actually unearthing this rot that has been going on for many years.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, so that is why if you also recall in our previous interactions on your platform, I have always said that look, Galamsey is actually an organized crime, and it more or less has a DNA. Whatever comes in, whether a newly appointed DC or MC, is like it is handed to the person to continue, because you have the same set of administration at the district level. You have the same district coordinating director, municipal mayor, municipal coordinating director. You have the same planning officers. You have the same security apparatus that has caught these people around, and they deceive everyone. They are actually busy fighting illegal mining. Go to the security side, the police. Most surprisingly, is the involvement of NADMO, who no one would ever.
Which was actually my next question, because I wanted to understand this ongoing. And for DC, the DC is the head of the District Security Council. So I'm wondering how, the police is also ensuring that this illegality is not carried out, is where I'm interested in. I'm very curious about that.
Oh, come on, this should not also be, you should not be curious about this because we've seen this several times. Go to Osino. Osino, where there is illegal man right behind the police station. And you would even have the Minerals Commission come several times complaining that they have lost several complaints to the police about the illegal mining activities that are going behind them. And they can care less. You would also hear from even Erastus, who has several, over 200 cases on record, where even, we call it volunteer citizens, go to report to police illegal mining happening on their cocoa farms and also even on their food crop lands. And the police can care less. If you go to a place like Mankranso, and there's a, just before or after Bichim, in the Tano South and Tano North, you have police barracks that are actually adjacent to Galamsey sites. So for Ghana Police Service, I do not know the generation or the century in which they will redeem their lost integrity and image as far as some of these are concerned. Just give them a little. And you will hear from the documentary, you just need to give the police something little and they allow it to go. So sometimes when you are driving on the highway and you have to find the police appearing to be busy stopping, looking for whatever I do not know, when they know where the criminals are and where the crime is perpetrated, they are on the streets searching innocent and very busy patriotic citizens. This is an uncouth and intolerant organization that everybody must bring hands on deck to fight. It's no longer a matter of police. The police are deeply neck deep into this. All district commanders of police, regional commissioners of police, they are all aware and deeply involved in this illegality.
So now, police is implicated, district chief executives, MCs are implicated. How do we stop this canker? Is there any hope in sight?
There is a lot of hope inside if there is change of attitude and behavior. Look, there is a saying, permit me to refer to a scripture in the Quran that says that Allah does not change the circumstances and conditions of a people until they change that which is in their own heart. If we have good-minded leadership, and I believe His Excellency President John Mahama is determined to show us good leadership this time, and it should start from him. I have said that NEMOS cannot be successful with its current framework and its current architecture. It cannot be successful. You cannot be moving a team from one space hotspot to another hotspot without any recovery and post-recovery management assessment and also methods. It doesn't happen anywhere, right? So, and have also suggested that for the regional ministers down to MMDCs appointed by His Excellency President Mahama, they should be assessed in a quarterly basis with reference to their performance on the combat against illegal mining. If you are given 3 months to justify your inclusion, why you should stay in office? Because there is illegal mining within your district, within your region, and report at the end of every quarter to the presidency. And the report should be made public. And these people should also be vetted after every submission of every report to assess. And they should be their KPIs. Number 1, that water bodies are actually regaining their fidelity. 2, that scarred land surfaces are actually rehabilitated. And that 3, there is almost zero tolerance for illegal mining within your district. If you can demonstrate that this is your baseline, you took off as a district chief executive officer and a supervising regional minister at this level of illegal mining in your district, in your region, and this is the level to which you have brought it, and we can go to the grounds and validate your reports, then you are given the next card to go for the next 6 months, the next 3rd quarter and a year. At the end of the year, you should be able to provide detailed report on your effort. My next proposal is that, look, Parliament must also come up with what we call water use direction. There should be a directive on water framework. There should be a directive on forest protected areas framework, and there should be a directive on land use framework for all MMDCEs. Every district led by a district chief executive or a municipal chief executive should appear before Parliament at end of every quarter and account what has been your plan to protect surface water bodies and underground water resources, subsurface hydrological resources in your district. Also account for how you have protected vegetative cover and forests and protected areas in your district. Account, give us the baselines, give us your advancements and your achievement on that, and we can validate this. We should be able to validate that. And then also account for how the sustainable land management practices and resilience that you are able to introduce in your district, that Parliament, with the support of the people, can validate.
Right.
Before you can continue to stay in office.
Grateful.
Otherwise,
Grateful.
Naimos is not making any achievement.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abdul Wadud Momin, for your time on our desk. Now, moving on, the Majority Caucus in Parliament is asking the governing National Democratic Congress to immediately cancel results of last Saturday's parliamentary primary in the Ayawaso East constituency following allegations of vote buying and inducement. The candidate at the center of the allegations, a former High Commissioner to Nigeria, Baba Jamal, put up this defense after claims of him sharing 32-inch television sets to delegates.
He said to people, what is wrong with it when you gift things to people? Is this the first time I'm gifting things to people? I have been, those of you who know me, know that every Christmas, every occasion, every instant, I have put down 2.5 million to give free loans to people. So if today you are giving, people are coming to vote and you are giving them something, you are not, it's not buying food. I speak, if you have listened to me carefully, I say, look, if somebody gives you a gift, you can take it. But allowing that gift to influence your vote is what is wrong. It's not a gift. It's allowing that gift to influence your vote, then it's wrong. By giving gifts, all this week, you think that you can bring people together and you won't give them water. It is not the item, it is the intention. Do you understand? And I don't think that I have gone around, I've spoken to them, I've met people, and that's why I'm still saying that I'm hope and trust that they will see reason with me and come along with me.
Your Excellency, the timing, is it not constant to you? The timing for giving the gift that you just mentioned, if indeed gifts actually happen, is the timing not something that you should worry about?
Timing of what?
The timing at which these gifts were given.
As you are talking now, if I give you a gift, won't you take it?
Your Excellency.
Do we have time that we give gifts?
Your Excellency.
Well, the party has since set up a 3-member committee to probe the allegations led by Kofi Totobi-Kwache. But before the committee submits its findings, Parliament's Majority Leader Mahama Yarga is making demands on the party. And according to a statement, it says that the members of the Majority Caucus of the NDC in Parliament has become aware of the allegations. Now, the caucus wishes to strongly condemn the developments against the background of the agenda to reset the politics of the country. Now, after extensive deliberations on the matter, the core leadership as well as the extended leadership of the caucus has resolved to communicate to the Functional Executive Committee of the NDC as follows. Now, that the primary organized in the Ayawaso East constituency be annulled immediately, that any candidate who participated in the said primary and has been established to have engaged in this unethical conduct be banned from participating in the subsequent primary after annulment of the election. And the NDC Majority Caucus remains committed to restoring integrity in politics. Well, what do constituents make of this brouhaha Sheila Sichi has been finding out?
The Ayawaso East parliamentary elections delivered a winner, but not without controversies. Baba Jamal emerged the winner for the NDC for this constituency, even as allegations of vote buying trailed the process. Now, in a swift response, President John Dramani Mahama has recalled his position as High Commissioner to Nigeria. We also have the majority caucus in Parliament led by Mahama Ayariga calling for an annulment of the elections. Baba Jamal, in response, has come out to deny allegations, saying that he wasn't involved in any vote buying or election malpractice. Well, we are here at the constituency listening to remarks of constituents and what they make of the general elections, especially whether it will affect voter confidence in the upcoming by-elections on 3rd of March. And to start off, let me speak to a gentleman here who is becoming a regular to our cameras. Good morning, Baba. How are you?
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Yes, I'm doing very well. Now, tell us, what is your general take on the elections that ended just this Saturday when you heard that Baba Jamal has been elected winner? What was your first thought?
Actually, for Nima, let me say, East Ayawaso constituency, we have a big problem here. You see, when you come the other time, I was about to talk about, I don't know how the NDCs are weighing their things. You see, an outsider to be voted as an executive here, we saw 3 times. We saw Dr. Farouk, we saw what he did to Nima. We saw Dr. Mustafa, we saw what he did to Nima. But for those who were born in Nima, that we elected, like Maknaza and then Malayaya, the way and manner they hold the community, or let me say the constituency, is far different from the outsiders like Dr. Mustafa and Dr. Farouk. So for Baba Jamal, most of we, the citizens of this actually constituency, we are seeing something different. We by all means have the hope that this man is not coming to help the community.
Media for the first time, no minim say Baba Jamal obewini. Minim so obewini trese oyobi a wache o game no mo. Onim game no otiase. Nti yemi de minim say e ade obewini. Obi a echa ade. Me man to abanso me ko hobi. Obi a cha ade, obi enu a wante bi. Ben odon ne de no e na nkrofo hu ye. E trese Sena kwan omufa so chair no omu chair no open nti ena ma no ba sa nti sa obi acha de ono Baba Jamal a government appointee ena hifa no nya sika no free a wo de be yesa so ati dem kan say me na me business na me say me politics na list ka be shemu a me ni obi ani asem onya sika no free he ansa ode
ye pede a obetimi abeboa Easter was most of the time no wo beba hu hwe senia street no aye basa enye fine na oba na se obetimi aboa de ye pe no do obeba abeboa Easter ye was amana konanim enu na hia vote de eye wonu nko a do bie ni ho a wa stand election wa ha wa ntua ebinim ma moto ebinim ma TV ebinim ma cash eni de obia tua so you say onu kwa na diska de yen nukure wo mu nyina obia tua we yen otwe yen adoa obia tua ebi say wo mu na tua ama wo mo hu say ube we delegate say wo diska enti no wan tua won to ma enti no gisa wo tua enti bebre tua bebre to mo tua so say anto ama wo ene kwa mo fa de bebre ma no mo fa o man pedi kura nim se o moto obi eni ho akwada kitikiti oni ma hakura obi eni se vote ye to enti se onu wa eni homework yie ena odo susu watua o mu susu nyina atua na se onu wa wi ni a ene sembe na wo ho.
All of them give money, and it's not the only person that give money. All of them give money. But you know, luckily that he won the election and people were accusing him of vote buying. But you know, what the president did, signal that in the near future, those who want to give money, they will stop. Because if we continue of this, That means those who have money, they can contest election. Those without money can't contest election. So what the president did is a very good. It's signal that the reset of the agenda is working.
Me no kai me pe obi a wote a aya waso ha. Na wo hunu situation e wom. Are you getting me? Ne niema ye hia. So what na niema e ko mu na many nye ho.
And those were reactions from the Ayawaso East constituency. You're still watching Joy News Desk. We'll take a break. We'll return with business.
Welcome back to business here on Joy News Desk. My name is Winston Taki, and out of our first business story. Accounting firm BWC Ghana says the economy remains highly vulnerable to fluctuations in global commodity prices despite signs of recent economic stability. The firm has also cautioned that a recent tax cut could negatively impact revenue mobilization this year. There's more in this report.
The revelation was captured in the West African Economic Outlook report put together by the accounting firm. PwC Ghana in the report noted that their forecast was based on the fact that the current recovery is largely based on gold price rally. And looking at the current development with the price, things could turn for the worse for the country. Thus, PwC Ghana in the report argued that it could lead to our buffers being tested due to these expected shocks, arguing that continuous discipline might be needed. IMF, in their staff report, recently raised similar concerns about how the economy is seriously exposed to external shocks. The accountant firm in the report again warned that the recent tax cuts and levies being reviewed could hit revenue badly this year. For some, the revelation could be seen as not so good for the economy going forward, as you understand that revenue numbers for last year was also not good. This could affect government expenditure for this year, as well as our debt situation.
Away from that, the Bank of Ghana may face increased pressure to further cut its policy rate ahead of its March meeting, following a further slowdown in inflation to 3.8% in January. There's more in this report.
We understand that based on the Bank of Ghana's own internal modeling and projections, they have a fair idea as to how inflation rate will first, second, and third quarters of this year. These projections have been very critical in the decisions of the Monetary Policy Committee. However, with inflation dropping to 3.8% in January, it looks like things have moved way faster than what the Bank of Ghana had forecast. This could mean two things: a move to cut the policy rate in an emergency meeting now to help close the gap between the inflation rate and the policy rate, or wait till March for a huge cut. But that could also be a gamble. This is because there are strong indications that the inflation rate could go down further, even reaching about 1% by June this year, before picking up slightly going forward, but still ending the year within the single-digit band.
Now, investor interest in government securities remain high as the government exceeded its treasury bills target by 246%. This was, however, achieved at a reduced target of 4.9 billion cedis. Meanwhile, interest rate fell sharply on the yield curve. There is more in this report.
According to the auction result by the Bank of Ghana, total bids tendered were estimated at 17.2 billion Ghana cedis, but the government accepted 5.8 billion Ghana cedis. The majority of the bids came from the 364-day bill, with an estimated 6.9 billion Ghana cedis tendered. This represented 40.2% of the total bid. The uptake was 2 billion Ghana cedis. For the 91-day bill, 6.5 billion Ghana cedis of the bids were tendered. Bids accepted were to the tune of 2.5 billion Ghana cedis. Similarly, 3.7 billion Ghana cedis of the bids were tendered for the 182-day bill. A little over 1.3 billion Ghana cedis of the bids were accepted. Meanwhile, interest rates fell sharply across the yield curve. This shows how interest rates are aligning with the policy rate cut. The yield on the 91-day bill dropped by 86 basis points to 9.96%. That of the 182-day bill also declined to 11.81% from 12.38% the previous week. Again, the yield on the 364-day bill eased by 76 basis points to 12.06%.
That's all for business here on Newsdesk. My name is Winston Taki. Over to you, Mummies.
Winston, good to see you again on our desk this morning. It's unfortunate that Michelle is not here, but it's also a delight to have you on my desk.
Thank you for having me.
See you again tomorrow. Well, that will be all for Joy News Desk. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. I'm Amici Nyamiche Thompson.